Matthew, I just got called Mitchell. Feels like Mum's talking to me at the moment. So I'm a little bit rattled from that. I'm trying to bounce back a little bit. Hey, this is a rematch of our opening match in Toronto, which actually turned out to be a bit of a banger.
It was. One where the Justice looked really good early on, and then they fumbled it for the rest of the series, and Dallas ends up winning it, and Dallas kind of obviously goes on. They just have an incredible event. I think this is interesting, though, in the fact that, like, we saw one match, we've seen contenders play. Like, I think it still takes time, a week or two into, like, a stage for teams to really kind of figure out the meta. But I think we'll get some indications on what teams are thinking depending on the rosters they have in.
I love that because we got to sort of see them in advance, and I think the rosters actually paint quite the story for us here because we know what Dallas have had in reserve this entire time, right? We know they've had players like Fearless, Gurio, and Doha sitting in reserve, and it should be no surprise to see him come back in, Matt. We've seen one game in the West, but we have a whole week of contenders B-sides from South Korea to go off of, and Sombra Tracer was the go. Start of the season, Harbin played a lot of Doomfist, especially in scrims. Fearless was obviously brought into play a little bit there as well. But seeing in Doha, it says quite a lot here. But you know what? I was expecting maybe a Doha Sparkle look, Tracer Sombra, but seeing Edison in here still, that's interesting.
I mean, Edison can play the Tracer, right? A little bit. We've seen in the, way past. So maybe you still have that look, but also the flexibility with some little more hit scan play. Seeing Doha in kind of tells me that they want to play the Sombra, right? Doha's played the Sombra a lot throughout his career, so expect them to come out with that type of look. On the other side, for the Justice, I mean, we kind of know what they're going to have roster-wise in. For Dallas, it's a new look, especially considering how good Sparkle was in the Summer Showdown on Genji, but Genji doesn't seem to really fit into the meta at the moment. Here's your Justice lineup. For me, Kalios. No, Mr. Top
Mr. Big Damage.
Mr. Big Damage. What happens now? I still think Junker Queen obviously playable, right? Like we saw the Boston Uprising use Junker Queen. I think may have kind of written that hero off a little bit too early, potentially, before we actually kind of saw what happens once everything's in play, where maybe they're still able to play this year. If you're the Justice, we know Kalios is a really good Zarya in the past, right?
Are you ready for the return of the nice mem, Matthew? Because we might be getting it.
I don't know if I'm ever ready for a mem return. I don't know if anyone's body is fully ready for the mem.
Yeah, look, it's been a little while, though, and it was a different roster for the Washington Justice, but during a Tracer Sombra meta last year that we saw, quite some time, admittedly, different game, there were woes upon woes for this Washington Justice team in trying to get the coordination between their Tracer and Sombra, namely Assassin and Decay, going. Look, now, do we get a different look for them?
New year, new Assassin.
Okay,
it's like the Call of Duty. It's like, whenever a COD comes out, you see every player on the timeline like, oh man, it's my year, bro. Like, this is my game. Like, that's what Assassin's probably looking at right now with the Sombra.
That's what you're calling methods out specifically.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, no. It's a staple, right? Every year it's my year.
He's the homie.
Maybe this meta, though, Assassin just looked at the rest of the team and was like, it's my time. I got this.
But,
no return of the mem.
On more positives, though, I mean, this is Decay's wheelhouse, right? The Tracer is where he's been able to showcase a lot of visibility, but we saw that earlier this year. It wouldn't be the first time that Decay's walked out on that particular pick, and during that time, the Justice still had Mag, they had, what I would consider to be, they had Vigilante on the team as well, and they were playing sort of hit scan alongside the Tracer. Here, probably no surprise to see Assassin on the Sombra, and it will be Edison on the Tracer, and I suspect that might be also because they want the ability to flex the hit scan. We have seen plenty of Sojourn and some Ashe out of the South Korean region on some maps as well. The Hanbin Doom, though, kind of what I was expecting.
I think a Hanbin on the Doomfist makes tons of sense, right?
We've
seen Kalios play before. Edison on Genji, Hanbin on Zarya. Excuse me?
Okay. Fielder on Ana, though, which is huge. So very different setups between these two teams here. A little bit of a slower approach for Dallas. They don't have the ability to go and, get a quick assassination straight away outside of sort of Edison. I mean, he's able to dive on opener there. And he's able to get out with Krillin as well. That is actually ridiculous. Great little two-piece between him and Doha so far.
And you also have to keep in mind, right? Zarya way different here in Overwatch 2. The bubbles like share a cooldown, and you can give, like, for argument's sake, you can give 2 bubbles to Edison, right? Let him dash in, make a play. It's a big biotic grenade that's going to force a little bit, the Justice to back up, but a lot of different uses for Zarya here. You see Assassin gets a hack on Edison, but it's cleansed right away.
Careful, Decay, hit with a biotic grenade now as well. Cleanse ain't in the game yet, Justice, so you're going to have to sit and let that wear off. Nice bubble from Hanbin. And this is someone, Matt, who actually played a lot of Zarya when teams were avoiding it, right? In a Reaper Genji setup on maps like Route 66. Hanbin incredibly good at bubble management. He's always at high charge, always keeping his dive DPS in great shape. Just weird to see Edison in that role, but let's see what he can do now with the Blade. No Blade, sorry, with the Nano, excuse me, I just can't expect them to come together. Edison wants to apply some further pressure here, and the Justice look extremely confused.
Yeah, they have no answers for this. Dallas, they're going to have an EMP into Blade coming up here shortly, as you've not gotten close to getting across the bridge here for the Justice. So we'll see if they're able to do something. The Justice, I mean, Kalios, he's there.
The lockout is extreme, man. Almost 2 seconds.
It's crazy. We talked a lot about the Dallas Fuel comp, and obviously because it's working. I'd like to talk a little bit about the Justice comp. Like, they are, the way they're kind of thinking about this comp is that they obviously need to get in and get first kills, right, with the Zen and the Rig in terms of drilling. This is like the exact opposite of how you'd love to see this play, right, where you're not able to even get close to do anything, and you're just almost like, not really.
No!
You're just getting burned down on the bridge. But that is fantastic, and look at that.
Okay.
The tables have turned.
Yes, and look,
we gotta get a replay of Edison.
I mean, yeah, you forget just how much of your kit gets turned off when you're hacked. That's a lot of stuff you cannot do. In fairness, only Transcendence had to be used there, plus the EMP, so pretty good rate for the Washington Justice in terms of what they had to expend there. Dallas come back in though, and again, of course, the Graviton Surge is always a really scary prospect, especially with the hack that followed up after the Bio Nade, rather.
It's taken a bit to get this grab, though, right? It's not exactly like Hanbin's able to get like incredibly charged and make plays. He's like playing a very like supportive type of tank style.
Here, okay. Meteor Strike from Kalios there takes a little bit more damage than it would have liked. Obia's going to hit with the biotic grenade though, and Krillin gets picked off by Edison, who's been finding plenty of value on the Genji so far in this round. Hanbin, here it is. Graviton Surge, that is inexorable. There's not a whole lot you can do there, and Edison is running away with it. 6-1 right now. Fantastic start to this series. And now the Justice have pretty much nothing to work with. They're walking face first into an EMP.
Yeah, and Edison on Genji is not something we've like seen a ton of in the past. Like, I'm sure we have, but really he's mostly hit scanned. So to see him be able to come out and play the Genji at this high a level, especially in a meta where I'm not really sure that we'd see Genji get a ton of play, is really good for the Dallas Fuel as Assassin gets picked off on the point.
Okay, Washington have to back up a little bit there. EMP, Edison, deflex, backs up. Chio goes down. Decay's eventually able to pick him off and then has to go for a recall. Krillin dueling with Fielder across the map, but sees Decay's in need of some administration. Krillin moves to the point now that EMP pretty high value, but the Fuel can wait it out. Dragon Blade here for Edison is going for it now. He was hit with the biotic grenade, so he's free to go in and put pressure on. The boosted healing makes a big difference, and he'll stand tall on the point now. Edison the Genji. Wouldn't have thought to see it here in a stage like that, but crazier things have happened. Hanbin has gone down, though. Dallas do need to finish their food here. Kalios is going to be in deep trouble, but Decay is still at large. He's 3 final blows in this round. Looking to make it 4 here. Pulse Bomb in the back pocket, Matt. He's looking to make it work as overtime is halfway.
Yeah, he gets Doha weak, but can't stand on the points because there's just too many players here from the Dallas Fuel.
Open a rip apart, though, and here's Decay again, waiting on the bomb. Been able to stall it out for a while. Hanbin could be a problem, though. The D-Matrix to eat up the bomb. There won't be any chance to see it. Hanbin runs him down, and that is the round. And what a stark contrast we just witnessed between the previous tournament and this one. The pace of the game has really slowed down. But Edison comes out with 10-1 in that round.
Yeah, compared to the last meta, it's like a snail's pace, right?
Yeah.
Between how many people, I mean, people are just dead all the time in Jotes, but now a little bit of a slowdown type of meta as Hanbin potentially going back to the Zarya. I really like this look from the Dallas Fuel. I'm interested in why you have Edison in to play the Genji instead of Sparkle. Probably tells me that, like, you know, they may not be 100% certain on this type of composition and would like to have an option to fall back to something different, right? Because, you know, you can imagine, like, Sparkle, obviously Edison playing pretty good on Genji here, but I mean, I don't think it'd be a hot take to say Sparkle's the better Genji of the two.
Or at least that's the expectation. Yeah. Edison's had
at least that's the
expectation.
Yes. We've seen Edison play a good round of Genji. We've seen Sparkle play many years of good Genji, but I do get what you're saying.
I wanted to point out as well that Harbin is actually not playing for charge. He's just playing for, you know, utility, supporting his backline there. Yeah. He is like average energy like 19, so really quite little. He's up against the Tracer Sombra comp, right? So there's not a lot of like spam damage that we're seeing, especially with the Doomfist. Despite that though, yeah, trying to be judicious with the application of that defensive utility. Edison got snarled up there though between a brick and a hard place.
Yeah, that's what I was saying in the last round, right? Using the bubbles and just playing a little bit more defensive is this is a nice hack. Oh yeah, the collapse is so good there from Dallas.
Oh, Kallios!
Opener, look at this. Oh, and the biotic grenade.
Deleted. Oh. Absolutely sent to the Shadow Realm. Fielder is going to be picked off though, so Decay is still able to work from the periphery here and get some value. That means Harbin won't have burst healing available, it's just Chio. That should be more than enough for Dallas. They've taken the point, flipped it back here. Chio now trying to keep Harbin nice and hale and hardy.
Let's see now if Assassin can land one of these EMPs. We talked about it a little bit earlier. It's an opportunity to get a big one here.
We did talk about Assassin and EMPs, yeah.
He's kind of just
hack there on Edison.
For a target.
Yeah, deflect just in
those
time.
Bubbles are huge. Yeah, and the bubble.
The deflect came obviously like, you know, almost 2 seconds. And that was just enough to keep them alive. Here's the transcendence now from Krillin. Assassin still has the EMP, but he's hacked for the time being. Topped up there by the looks of a repair pack, but he's brought down by Doha. Edison, yeah, needs to be very, very careful there, and Fielder's so low trying to play from the outside. Decay is starting to do Decay things a little bit more now. 6 and 2, and the Justice flip it back.
Yeah, and I think with the way this map is playing out, and the way the map is laid out, it's definitely more advantageous to the Justice, right? Where they're not having to kind of go across that bridge. They were never able to, you know, get any type of aggressive play going. Where now the just as open field is giving them a little bit more options. Is this will be a blade that comes out?
Edison looking for a target here. Krillin, yeah, he was already hacked, so helped out Doha find that kill, but Decay again fires up and punishes Edison as he tries to dive deep. That should be 0 bubbles left for Harbin right now, and he eventually is brought down as well. Yeah, this is an issue. Decay is a big problem for Dallas in Toronto as well.
I'm more interested now in what does Dallas do? Do you just keep running this? I was questioning, I was like, do we see maybe like Edison play like Cassidy or something like that? If you're going to commit to being like fully defensive, right?
I don't hate it. Obviously plenty of utility to keep Cassidy topped up a lot of the time. Damn,
that was really nice there from Kallios. Did you see that? Doha went for the hack and like he got the jump to like break the line of sight right above, and they were able to take Doha out.
Good look for the Justice here, 82% and counting. Edison's able to find Krillin though, but he's being pressured heavily by Decay, who won't look to finish this with a pulse bomb. Graviton Surge came out though. Edison was in a position to try and flip this fight back, but the Justice still have control. Decay unperturbed by the deflect of Edison, who now is not really seeing any great options to try and pressure his advantage. Over the top though, Edison is able to find the triple shuriken headshot. Dallas can slip back into control.
Yeah, but the Justice gets to 99, which is massive. So if you're the Justice, you just need one good set of ultimates here to break this, and you're in a great spot. Looked like Decay was behind enemy lines, causing some problems. Doha trying to set up a big EMP.
Krillin trying to back around the corner, but it was inevitable. Doha gets the EMP. Manual hack on Kallios now, which means he doesn't have any ability to impact the fight elsewhere. He's stuck in the middle of the map. And that allows Open to get picked off. Harbin's there for the flip. As the Justice were able to flip it back mid-fight, so saves himself a decent amount of percentage here, but this will be a stagger.
Oh yeah, now it'll be bad. I was like, it's not going to be that bad of a stagger, but yeah, you get Kallios here, you're going to get a sizable percentage here, and now it's scary. You don't have a support ult. You're going to go against this Blade. Chio probably no chance of building this sound barrier before like an EMP comes in. So we'll see. I mean, Assassin again, right, has the opportunity with this EMP to give this point to the Justice.
Yeah, there isn't really any poke to farm heal off Harbin, for example. So the fuel keeps the point up. They do want to play this a little bit slowly, but Getting Gio's ultimate's a big ask. He's going to hit with the EMP and taken down immediately. Edison might think to try and go for a blade here, but Decay's put to sleep. That's going to take the pressure off of Edison, and he makes good on it. Gets rid of Decay, and then Opener falls. Assassin is done. And then Dallas Fuel sneak this one back. A very competitive second round where we get to see Decay start to come alive. But as Edison still finishes the map with 16 final blows, 4 deaths. That's 16, Matt, out of 30 kills. That's a dead list.
Yeah, I mean, just an insane game from Edison. The Dallas Fuel looks so good with this slower pace of play. But the Justice did start to come on late, where I think they were giving the Dallas Fuel some problems. So it'll be interesting to see if they can force the Dallas Fuel off of this comp to something different.
No doubt about it, Dallas. Yeah, the same stars are there. Perhaps a little shakiness as we often get at the start of a meta. Let's see how these teams adapt and evolve through the course of this series. Dallas go up 1-0 after the first. Oh yeah, baby, the battle for Texas is back. The Fuel and Outlaws renew their rivalry live on October 8th at Esports Stadium, Arlington in Texas. Join former Fuel stars Mickey and Taimu and watch the world premiere docuseries 5 Years of Fuel before the match. Tickets are on sale now, and who knows, might see a couple of the special guests out there. So get on and check it out if you are local. Great venue, great teams, it'll be a great time. Well, look, we're celebrating 5 years. I think we're bringing DJ Khaled back, so that's lit. Yep. Yeah, he was. Oh, he just tweeted asking Tasman to let him back in, and he kind of just said no, so maybe he's not welcome in Texas. A little Red Bull athlete. Sorry, okay,
yeah,
okay.
Bring them all back. Bring everybody back here for the Dallas Fuel. You know,
Hey, that's
get
cool,
everybody
though.
in town.
Some old heads, obviously, from the Dallas dynasty. Well, nice to see them. But the current one, this Dallas Fuel team, looking pretty darn good right off the back of a pretty dominant summer showdown. Looking to really just turn up the heat even more now as we head into this Countdown Cup. Good start for them, I will say.
Right.
Some interesting decisions, right? I was seeing Edison on the Genji. He had a fantastic map. I think that the Justice definitely looked a little bit at odds with the pace as we were starting to adjust to it as well and saying, okay, things will really get slowed down here, but you have Kalios having to play defensively. I don't know, you have the Doomfish as well, and that's really composition, man. That seems like you want to be trying to instigate a lot of these engagements, but Justice kind of relied on Decay to do Decay things, and it wasn't enough.
Well, I'm interested, can you run what the Dallas Fuel are running on every single map? The next map in the set will be King's Row, where Zarya traditionally with a Reinhardt would be really good on King's Row. I think you probably could still run that type of composition here. What do the Justice do in response? Because the composition for the Dallas Fuel, they can get aggressive behind the Sombra and the Genji, doing some damage, right, with the Zarya bubbles going in. But I think they're kind of just baiting in the Justice to play a little bit more aggro, which we know that's how the Justice play.
Yes.
Do the Justice have another pace they can play at or another composition, right? Like I mentioned in the pregame, Kalios is a really good Zarya. Could you see them try and mirror, right? What does that look like? I think there's a few options here for the Justice if they want to change it up.
Zarya for Streets phase as well is viable. I've seen it on Paraíso so far. I think it was O2 Blast that tried it and looked pretty good at times, but more so because of sort of the high ground and being able to just really easily bubble Genjis as they drop in and do some damage. So it's a possibility. So, oh yeah, let's not forget, of course, how sort of wide Doha's hero pool is. So I know they're hovering, I know they're kind of trolling a little bit. We may see Widowmaker on Circuit Royale, but no. Are you kidding me? The Battle Cattle has arrived. Death comes on 4 legs, Matthew.
All right, Orisa, she's fun to play now. In Kalios,
she's always been fun in this form, but the fun doesn't last very long. You know what I mean? You're there for a good time, not a long time.
Well, let's see. I mean, he's hiding, so they're really gonna have no idea how to play against this. We've obviously seen very limited Orisa play during the season. And Dallas, they'll actually have Doha on the Genji this time, and they'll play Edison on Reaper. So Reaper got a buff in this patch as well.
Yep.
So you have we know Edison's a very good Reaper, right? We've seen him play the Reaper a good amount. Man, you have that spear on cooldown so fast.
Well, yes. Tough to, look, you can't block too many of those projectiles unless you're using the javelin twirl.
Yeah, as it were. You've lost Assassin, though, already, which he's obviously got some amp damage. But Decay gets Edison, so maybe you can actually get back on the point and make something out of this. Kalios drops.
I mean, on the point there, Kalios does connect with that javelin. He's just playing around the phone box for the time being. Relentless pressure, of course, from Kalios, but eventually has to back away there. Using that speed boost, javelin called shot, not quite connected. Decay forced to recall out. They take a ton of damage up front. And Kalios has finally been burnt down now. So the Justice, yeah, they've been evicted.
And when you lose Assassin really early, I mean, this is going to happen, right? You're just going to end up giving up the point. With how good Sombra is in terms of the hacks, giving the damage amp to herself, right? Taking abilities offline for a short period of time. You want to see the Sombra be the one who gets the first pick, right? So much early pick potential with getting a hack and just burning somebody down really fast. Especially you have a Discord in the mix too, right? You Discord a target and then hack it. mean, that target should, especially if you're looking at like an Ana where, you know, a Lucio die pretty fast. So losing Assassin first is huge.
Kalios, aggressive here. Wow, real aggressive, trying to push him with that javelin spins. Edison is able to get away with the Wraith walked over. Kalios takes barely any damage. A lot of health now on Orisa, but it's not going to protect the rest of the Justice's team. I mean, it's such a perfect fit for Kalios, the Orisa pick, but Doha just got 4. That's dirty. We've got 2 Genji plays going hog wild across 2 different maps on this Dallas team.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter, I guess, who plays Genji for Dallas. Sparkle, Edison, Doha, they're just masters at the hero. Oh, Krillin takes out Doha as his rank follow master. Let's see if they can actually make an attempt here. I think it's important that Justice get at least a fight win. You do have this Orisa ultimate. Like, I wouldn't even begin to tell you what the best use of this is. You got to get everybody kind of grouped together.
Probably with the MP. You know, it does draw people together for a time. Here's the Terror Surge now, but you can break LOS, and that's what Dallas do. Still, it doesn't matter. Kalios comes out of that and just cleans Fielder up here. What
it does yoink people a little bit.
Yeah, towards a bit of Chio, a little bit quizzical about the use of that ultimate. Kalios thought he'd blow off a bit of steam. His fusion driver also generates a fair bit of his watch, so I don't know.
Well, now you have an opportunity here to get a big grab. If you're the Dallas Fuel, maybe you're looking to hack onto Krillin. So we have a DPS swap here. So Doha over to the Sombra, and now you have Edison on the Genji, so they put the Reaper away.
Kalios leads his team in damage. He's in a Tracer Sombra comp though, so that's not particularly shocking. Okay, Assassin sights Hanbin there, but opts to get out once more. Dallas played a slow game here. Pretty tough to burn this Orisa down, especially Fortify, still very effective. Even has some extra modes now.
I think they're waiting for a hack.
Once her armor's gone, yeah, oh, she pops.
Yeah.
Fielder picks off Kalios there. Edison working down a lot of that Orisa armor. She's got a lot of good base health stats. Yeah, not a darn thing. That's a memp. It's just a memp, Matt. I warned you. You said you weren't ready.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it connected with players. It just didn't get any kills or anything off the back.
Assassin has 2 enemies EMP right now for the map, so yeah. 2 players caught by that one. Krillin moving out with that right click held on, but he is probably going to get blown to smithereens now as Kalios comes in. You can see just how quickly Orisa unsupported will crumble.
Well, I think he was also hacked at one point there. I don't know if he took a lot of hack damage, but yeah, this has not been a good map so far for the Justice. This composition, I'm not even sure if you can say it's the composition that's not working, right? I feel like they haven't had many good fights, like where we've seen a drawn-out back-and-forth fight. They've just been so one-sided that it's tough to even like judge whether it's going to be composition. Because, I mean, look at this. You're going to have all 5 ultimates here for the Dallas Fuel. Like, they should be able to walk this one right in.
Well, listen, what do you make of Edison switching from the Reaper to the Genji and then Doha pick up the Sombra? Bit of a mix-up here for them, right?
Yeah, and I think the EMP is just so strong. And that maybe the Reaper... Yeah, the Reaper isn't really what you want against this Orisa. Yeah, that's going to be the spinning spear there that takes out Edison as he got a little too close.
Yeah, Kalios about a final elimination there. Obviously, you can get environmental kills with that ability. But Kalios eventually is going to get brought down here. Having your energy travel every 6 seconds probably makes you feel pretty powerful right now. But again, if you can't connect those abilities, then you're effectively... Oh, okay. You're getting clowned on right now, Justice. I hate to break it to you. This is a clowning. All right, Nano Boost here for Hanbin. Oh, he's looking scary. Kalios, yeah, very quickly get a turn tail, get back to spawn. He's a non-factor for the time being, so a big offensive piece off the table. EMP from Assassin. Hanbin trying to burn him down as quickly as humanly possible, but Fielder falls in the meantime. Hanbin pinned to the wall. Here's the Terror Surge. Zoning, if you will. Hanbin able to back away from it for a time, but Decay's found 2. Kalios,
all right, we're
about
moving away.
All right, it was worth the try.
All right, so, and I think that's huge though, because you were able to withstand all of those ultimates. I said the Dallas Fuel were building up, and you're able to get a hold here. Doha builds up towards that EMP rather quickly. Same with Hanbin, considering like how slow he built the grab in map number 1. As we have Assassin playing the Ashe. This is so interesting because, you know, typically this is a hero that like Decay would play, but you obviously want him on the Tracer and has a pulse bump. So now we'll see Assassin's long-range hit scan capability.
Maybe pressure on Zenyatta and also pressuring Xayah Bubbles out. Might be the option here for Assassin to make use of high ground. Decay knows not to get too close here to that front line. Gallios' Hackto's going to mini MP to follow it up. He's going to be perma. Disabled. Yeah, not ideal. Decay's able to find the pulse bomb though on Fury. Got his way into the back line and no one on Dallas is pushing the car right now. Geo burnt down. Get good looks from Decay, keeping that team alive. And a big investment into shutting down, disabling the abilities of Kalios there. And they didn't really come out with anything, Dallas. So back to the drawing board again with a minute left.
Yeah, this has been a really good hold here from the Justice. Is, you know, Assassin controlling the high ground on the Ashe is not really, like, it's not like Doha can access that, right? Like, he's going to have to, what, throw his translocator at his face? As, yeah, Doha switches off that. He goes to Hanzo, so you need something that can challenge this long-range high ground play here from the Ashe. Is now that they know that there's a switch up, you see Assassin playing a way different angle.
That's an immediate rotation, yeah, Matt. You saw it through the building. Assassin realizing he couldn't be there. Okay. A lot of just poke damage, and Kalios able to finish the job there with a seismic slam. May not have the slow component anymore, but still packs a punch. Geo explodes. Quillen's able to fight him with a headshot, but Assassin eventually is dealt with on that high ground. Kalios was nanoed there, but put to sleep for much of the duration, and it looks like the Justice may have gotten baited into that grab. Kalios is still able to come out with a kill on Fielder, and that might be a big difference maker. Edison doesn't have any healing, sort of outside of the pack he picks up, and he wants to ideally blade sooner rather than later. But the presence of Bob here, Matt, makes it a little bit more hard to pull off, but a hack will quickly deal with him. Nice shot across the bow from Assassin, though.
I was going to say, you have the Bob, and then you also have a Transcendence here for Krillin if you want to use it, as Doha takes out Assassin in the backline. Assassin, he was doing real big work there on the Ashe. That's a huge pick for Dallas.
Decay can end this here. Pulse bomb on Harvey would have been huge. He gets the splash damage that may well be enough. Krillin's able to help him finish the job. Meteor strike for Kalios, but his work has already been done. And that will be the Dallas Fuel brought to their knees just before the end of King's Row. Oh man, my head's spinning trying to keep up with all these compositions, but the Justice, you get to play Orisa and you prevent the enemy team from finishing the map. That's an honest day's work in my book, Matthew.
And with the way the first 2 points were going, it was not looking good for the Justice, and they battled back, right? They kind of moved away from the Orisa. I thought the Assassin Ashe up on the high ground made a huge difference. And in a scenario where it was like the Dallas Fuel, like almost like 5 ultimates with like 230, 240-ish on the clock, we're like right on that home stretch, and they're able to get a full hold. I mean, that's huge for the Justice. You'll take that any day.
So it looks like there's definitely limitations, right, with this sort of Genji Sombra composition. You know, towards the end of the map, we kind of questioned, right, coming into this series, you know, what is the Tracer Sombra assignment? Is there a Tracer player here? Obviously, Dallas opting sort of not to go for that, so that might end up being a pretty classical look from them. Oh dear, that's an Ajax. Yeah, bona fide, grade A Ajax.
Yep. If you're gonna call him Imp, you gotta call him Ajax. So, yep, we got you. Geo. Just kind of watching Geo up on the high ground here. Is what do the Justice decide to run? I mean, Krillin on the Batiste right now, I don't think that'll be something in play. Do we see them run the Doom? I mean, is this gonna... Okay, so... Zarya, are we gonna see Zarya Hanzo, or is this just a Sonic to get some idea? Like, yeah, what do we see here? Okay. So they'll play the Reaper. Okay, so they'll play Reaper Sombra here with the Zarya. I think this could be really good for the Justice. I talked about it. Kalios used to be really good on Zarya. I think when he's on like the Boston Uprising, they used to bring him in as like their kind of, you know, quote-unquote Zarya specialist.
There's a lot of value there for Decay pressuring Harmbin down, but Kalios is also struggling right now. The deflect, oh, Decay, ice cold, he holds that shot until the animation is done. Great walk, TP high ground, he can now go around and drop down behind, he gets into Ice Translocator instead. And he knows approximately where the Sombra is. Looks like Opener is actually chasing Doha down, but he is invisible right now, able to refresh that Translocator. Dallas are in a weird position now. Krillin gets wrapped around on Runner. Doha pressured by Opener. Has to get out.
Yeah, really nice job from Opener to try and protect Krillin, but can't do it for long, as that is a nano onto Hanbin. So Dallas, they get the point back. They hold for now on defense, but a really good start here for the Justice. He hit about 70%.
So this composition, we talked about the pace of the game in the first map, right? These comps, much faster paced, very much an issue of, you know, being a vehicle to deliver your Reaper into the front line and pressure those Zarya bubbles away. Definitely important to keep an eye on how those are employed. Hanbin having to save more of them for himself in this matchup.
And this kind of is reminiscent as we have a grab being used. This is by the Justice.
Oh, Hanbin went for one too.
So they get Hanbin, yeah. Oh, and he used his.
Yeah, panic grab. No follow-up available. Dallas were not really in a position to do anything with that, so they must have been caught by surprise by something. Decay try to go for the TP is put to sleep, so that'll mean that the Fuel can back away safely enough here, but they've lost the point. Decay will still look to establish a pretty far-forward line of scrimmage here. Doha translocates away.
Teams actually look pretty coordinated with these comps, Mitch, because these are comps that, if you remember back to like the alpha, right, where players were able to practice a bit early before the season, like in the initial wave, this was like one of the strongest comps. Like the Zarya with the Reaper was a competition everybody was playing, and like scrims, even like kind of like quick play games that we were all in, like it was really strong. And to see it come back now, especially with buffs to some of these characters, not surprising.
Yeah, and you saw that Decay was actually spending some time in the front line, sort of shooting a lot more. The spread of Reaper's been reduced, right, from like 8 to 7 degrees, which doesn't seem like much, but it probably means you can actually have some meaningful sort of medium to short range poke there and play in the front line, and feel like you're actually doing something. Kalio's going to get the nano here, translocate immediately out for Doha, and they've got to look out for this Death Blossom from Edison. Graviton Surge, good combo here for Edison. He decides against it though, as he has enough damage up front with the Hellfire shotguns to pressure down, but Assassin's able to pick him off, and you can see a look on Edison's face. A bit frustrating for him, trying to feel like he can get a grip on the pace of play right now.
And you can use the Reaper. Like, think about how strong Reaper is already, right? And now you kind of make his spread a little bit tighter. You also have the lifesteal on Reaper. You have the Wraithwalk to also kind of as like an immunity, right? You also have double bubble you can put on the Reaper as well. So he's like getting lifesteal with protection, giving the Zarya more damage. Like, you can see how it just starts to get rolling with this comp.
You have no support on, but his Graviton Surge, so could be a little bit nasty. Edison trying to turn things back around though, catches opener. Death Blossom came in. There's a nano boost here for Fielder if he opts to make use of it. Where does it go? EMP. Doha was just about to set one up of his own, so if he can survive, this could be curtains for this push for the Justice. And either way, it looks like that'll be the case. Kalio's forced to shelter inside the subway. It's not a seismic event though, it's just the Fuel rolling out in numbers.
Yeah, as they try and stagger Kalio's a little bit, so 2 minutes and 15 on the clock. We'll have the Justice with a few more attempts here, a few more cracks at it. So Decay with the Death Blossom, no support ults on the other side. I think that's what you're looking at. Able to use some of these Zarya bubbles. Maybe you can actually get a hack on the Fielder, right? The sleep is kind of what you're worried about the most.
Doha was probably hoping to make it so opener couldn't get up to that window and then be sitting duck, but the hack come in a little late. First bubble there from Kalios, he's pretty low. Good discipline from Dallas not to give him free charge. That's an EMP. That's a good one too. Decay getting caught for the moment. He's unable to really assist as Kalios and Krillin, they get smoked.
Yeah, and this allows Dallas to build up towards the sound barrier, right? I know Decay is gonna get out with his life? It's gonna be close. Oh, nice bubbles there from Kalia. So he does get out with his life, but now you built up this support ult to deal with that Death Blossom.
Yeah, Chio going to be ready with that one when the time comes. The grab's getting built up awfully quickly here. I will point out, Hanbin and Kalios have been in step with each other with the generation of those for much of this map. 1 minute and 6 seconds left in the round here. The Justice need to find a way to break through.
Nano the Reaper and just let him just like battering ram on in. Is that the play here for the Justice?
You can probably speed back though, disengage, bubble whoever's in the most trouble. Seems a little bit blunt from the Justice, but I guess they're the most solid teams. And Decay just blinking. No idea what happened there. Edison thinks about going forward, boot back for the time being, but a sound barrier means that the Fuel may as well get aggressive. They may as well turn up the heat.
Oh, wait, hold on. We got to get a replay. I believe there in that split second, we saw Opener with a nano boost glow attached. I want to say that Krillin may have ended up nanoing Opener as he was trying to save somebody. We'll have to get a look at that, but that would be devastating. That's what it looked like in that split second where Opener was there. So that could have been a big whiff of the Justice.
Nice work there by Decay. He eventually gets value out of the Death Blossom, uses it defensively no less. Turns himself into a bit of a cactus as Dallas try and body slam the formation of the Justice. So that'll keep Washington going for now as we head into overtime. They're not facing down any key ultimates, but Doha can definitely build his EMP in a couple of seconds. Harbin, okay, the Junker King is back.
Yeah, and maybe you want the Queen here against the Diva if you want to try and like brawl out like that. Junker Queen's fantastic, obviously, and that's they're not able to get back there in time.
EMP for 3, Krillin and Opener both hit with that one, the entire back line. Carnage connection onto the front line here. But yeah, that checkpoint comes up, and the Justas get a stay of execution, a chance, in fact, to win the map. It's a slim one at that, especially how slow things have been for them in the last couple of minutes, but there's a chance. Harbin now, maybe regretting this decision. Doesn't get as much value out of the commanding shout, but it still seems to be more than enough to send Dallas careening into their opposition. But Decay deals with Doha once more.
Yeah, and that was a nano there used on Edison, force them back a little bit. And interesting that Kalios, when they see the Junker Queen, they actually go to the Orisa. Look at the displacement there. I don't know if you're going to last very long, though, hitting with that biotic grenade. It doesn't matter, though, as it looks like they're going to end up winning the fight.
Okay, Harbinhauer has a chance to decide if he wants to stay on the Junker Queen here or opt for something a little different. Maybe back towards the Zarya here. Something to pressure Kalios down. No, Junker Queen it is going to be. We've still seen that played a fair bit, some control map rush comps, even with Baptiste at times, which is a fascinating one, as he also has been buffed.
I think it's because you have the sound barrier in the mix here. The sound barrier will give Junker Queen even more survivability. Commanding shout gets her right in the mix, and then you just get the blades ticket.
Here's the commanding shout. Assassin got hacked. He has EMP. He will have a chance to use it, but he has to translocate out, so he'll be a while now. EMP, there it is. He gets back in the fight pretty quickly, and Decay descends with the Death Blossom. He's put to sleep, but a Javelin claims Edison. Dallas are down to 4, and Doha's clinging to life. Oh no! What happened to the sound barrier for Chio? Oh dear! The Dallas Fuel let this one slip. The Justice come alive as they're given an opening, and they exploit it to its fullest.
Yeah, and the Chio did get that sound barrier off, I believe. It just didn't connect.
Just wasn't enough.
In time with Edison, yeah, because it looked like he got hit with the hack, so couldn't use it straight away. Man, Justice battle back. I think they did a really nice job mixing it up comp-wise. They gave the Dallas Fuel some trouble.
Always an issue for the Dallas Fuel are the Washington Justice. Kalios on the Orisa turns up the heat. Yeah, the quadrupedal menace.
Didn't think we'd be hearing that today.
Yeah, able to tip the scales in that map. I like it. One apiece in this series. This one could be fun, everybody.
They had to kill Decay.
The 1v1 on the card now. Drew boots him away, but it's going to be a blink forward to keep Decay there. The man is still alive.
Look at this opener. And oh, look at that too. They got sent to the skies.
Get Kalios ready with a rampage here.
Welcome back, everybody, to our second series of this Countdown Cup. My God, it's been pretty exciting one so far. Very volatile. Across the first two maps we've seen, the pace of play varies so distinctly. As King's Row was very Lucio-oriented, Ana's, sometimes Lucio and Ana combining in ways that you try and avoid. Boostio
Like
here
what?
and there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know the vibes.
Yeah, I saw opener just glowing in the street there. You know, I was like, hey, this looks kind of weird as the fight went on, because I think at that point in the game, I believe Kalios was grabbed here. Yeah, let's take a look. Yeah, Kalios gets grabbed and.
Oh, that's brutal.
That's a bit unlucky.
Now, you can use a confirmation of Nano Boost target. It is an extra input. I know it's, you know.
Did it look like he had
this
time
caliber.
for an extra input there? You know, they're not playing against the competition.
No,
you're
I mean, you
playing
can,
against, you know,
slow
motion.
That is true. But if you don't use confirmed target, then sometimes Lucio's stray into your crosshair. This is
Sometimes
the thing
you
that
got,
happens.
yeah.
Unavoidable in
Yeah,
some
that's
sense.
tough.
So, look, however, in fairness, there was also a big old Ajax there as well from Chio in that sort of first round. I think unable to get much done here. So, like, Dallas,
I mean,
they look like they had it, right? They look pretty confident, and then they push really hard into Justice territory, like into their spawn. They get cleared, they lose the next fight, and then they get they get beaten in the last phase of the map.
You're gonna see chaos, I feel like, all week. I mean, Orisa just won a map, right? That's something that, like, we haven't seen in ages. Way different compositions from, you know, these teams. We've seen some Junker Queen in this match already, Diva, no Reinhardt, no Winston, but still. It's going to be a wild, I think, opening week or two before things get settled. And what's crazy is things will get settled. They'll move into play-ins, right? The game will actually, you know, be out at that point. And then, you know, Kariko, right, for playoffs, like with all that she brings, which will be sick.
I mean, that's a whole lot. That's going to change the game.
Yeah, yeah, it's going to be crazy.
Definitely reason to be excited here, ladies and gentlemen. And look, there's plenty to look forward to on this map. Dallas were playing Reaper Genji with Zarya here on this map in the past. I want to say Mid-Season Madness. So this composition, not so foreign to them. Definitely one they can sort of get value out of here. The Washington Justice obviously will be Tracer Sombra. As we've sort of expected to see thus far, Decay obviously just going for due diligence here with that's Sonic.
Yeah, and you know, what will we see kind of from these teams? I know as things kind of move on here. I know Route 66 is a map. Yeah, what do you say, Mitch?
Yeah, I mean, they're out of the gates, mate. Doha already getting picked up here, and the Justice are off to a good start. So straight up to the high ground they're going to go here. Cool and able to find that key pick off, and Dallas are giving a lot of ground. They want to try and play on top of big L's. Kalios is aware of this, so he sort of wraps around, tries to set up there. Not able to pressure, but the Dallas field already scrabbling to try and get in position. Kalios into the bottom of big L's, hacked. He's hacked. He's in trouble.
Yeah, it's, now I can see what you were seeing. Evidently on the the usual game, not there, but it's good to know that you were in the game. You see, from the Justice POV, yeah, I mean, they go with the Doom again, right? I think the Doom in this point is going to be pretty hard to get around this Zarya in this type of composition. Like, you see Kalios already hacked, like, in the street, like, trying to keep him, like, fully topped up before the fight's kicked off.
Oh, Krillin!
Yeah.
That was nice. I mean, I think Chio just booped them off the high ground, Matt. That's dirty stuff. And you're right. I mean, Kalios keeps getting hacked halfway to his intended target. And he just stands there out in the open like, well, I need to wait this off now. And that gives the Dallas Fuel the opening, right, to actually have these little bursts of aggression on defense.
Yeah, well, I like how you said that, because he's like, well, I'll just wait this off. But it's not like the Genji and the Sombra are waiting it off on the other side. Like they're constantly poking and attacking, which obviously makes it way harder.
Edison taking down there. So Kali's able to get rid of the Genji here. Yeah, big deal. Geo obviously was pretty far forward trying to find those boop setups, so Decay's able to give him a bit of a licking in damage terms. And still, Geo's able to find some value. Great map for him so far. Decay needs to get into the support line. He's starting to realize that now, because without any pressure, Geo's doing whatever. Builder doesn't need to be babysat by his Lucio. And Geo finds yet another one. Fantastic stuff. Both Ana's down here as Decay eventually is able to find his intended target. Dallas may be advised to try and regroup as Geo's still going for it. Like a bull terrier out there.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're definitely obviously inclined to regroup because you can come back with this EMP. You have a blade available too. You can come back and fight this. As the cart did not make much progress off the start. So this is getting dangerous. You're already at a minute and 30 on the clock because that's a blade there being used.
Yeah, Doha looking for an EMP as well. If they can actually ration these out, space them out a little bit, it could be huge. Losing Fielder sucks though. For Edison especially means he can't go quite as aggressive as he would have liked to, but it's a fat EMP. Captures 4. Krillin does get the Transcendence off, but not before Opener is eliminated. Edison on the back foot as he often has been in this fight, but now the Grav gets brought out, and Dallas, that's a masterclass in playing it at a player disadvantage.
Did you use too much though? You end up burning everything here if you're the Dallas Fuel.
It's point A, who cares?
Yeah, but they have an EMP available, right? You would have loved to have something against that, but with the way Doha is able to just build up these EMPs and get these pickoffs, maybe you're relying on him being able to find a pick to open things up yet again. Now Kalios will go over to the Zarya.
Right,
the Doom I don't think was the pick, yeah.
You're going to struggle to EMP both Harmid and Fielder at the same time, right? And the other will be able to, help their teammate stay alive. Through that good pressure from Decay, though, look, he pushes the card, and then he wraps around. And Geo's not playing defensively this map, right? So there aren't any layers of defense for Fielder. If Decay can flank like that, he's going to just rip him to shreds.
You do have Decay fall. Assassin would love to hold this EMP, right? Yeah. I mean, yeah, ideally you don't want to be in a situation where you have to use it. Hanbin finds himself pretty far behind enemy lines here, but he's got Chio. Like, look how spread out everybody is.
EMP. Oh, Opener explodes. Hanbin is very low.
Gets hit by it.
And what can they do? Doha looking to try and pressure back. Assassin still hasn't had a chance to use it. You know he's trying to go for it now, but he gets picked off in midair. Still the EMP goes off. Fielder, though, able to stay alive quickly, I think just throws a grenade at his feet to stay in the fight. Doha's able to translocate away. It's a little bit awkward as Edison is hacked sitting behind the cart. Pressure from Kalios, but Decay is down as well. The Dallas Fuel have found a solution on this map. It's such a comfortable composition for them. Familiar indeed. But here's the Graviton Surge. Edison gets a bubble, stays alive. He's nanoed right now. It's all about Kalios. Can they remove him from the equation? Meanwhile, Edison making short work of the backline, sheltering inside Big L's. I love that route. He wraps around the backside. Even though he's hacked, he still has the blade. He can make use of it. Oh, that's perfect execution from the Dallas Fuel. You've got to be pleased about a round like that.
And I think it's just a little bit too passive there from the Justice. You know, Assassin wanted to hold on to this EMP for a very long time. And they get an opening and they get an advantage. But the players are so split from Dallas. Like, they were still alive. You were pushing the cart. And then you just got collapsed on. You never had an opportunity. I feel like they just needed to, like, pick a target and chase them down. Whether they needed the EMP or not, great. Like, they just needed kills at that point. They just let Dallas regroup and linger for so long.
Are we seeing, okay, so different roster, changes have been made, but are we seeing this trademark hesitance from the Washington Justice? Because we've seen it before, like an unwillingness to pressure advantages, go aggressive. I think they're getting hit by the EMP there for Assassin really ruins his timing on using his own EMP. But still, it looks like the Justice aren't able to pressure their advantages. They're going back to Orisa here, which is great, but how long can they last here on point A?
No, I don't know. I mean, we'll see if the Orisa is able to work it again. Do you see Dallas play like the Junker Queen or something else in response to this? Knowing that Dallas needs what? Like, with the Zarya comp, they're not going to get held at the corner, you would think, as easily as like the Doomfist did. So you're looking at what? Maybe one fight here for Dallas to win this?
3, 2, 1.
We don't make it a start with for Edison.
Stop the payload.
Here we go. So it will be Genji Sombra. Okay, the boop on Kalios is kind of annoying. He's going to have to circle back. Geo constantly a thorn in the Justice's side, whether on offense or defense so far this match. And again, like we mentioned, it means Fielder has less defensive architecture. Good hack though. Kalios going to take a lot of damage, and all that armor goes. He's very low.
He is living on the edge. Yeah, I mean that is tough. That's like you know, I was playing some Overwatch 1 the other day, and like that is some Overwatch 1 tank health bar type of stuff. Just, you know, full HP to no HP in the split second. This Kalios, it's really tough on this Orisa, and it seems like what's interesting is that when the Orisa comes out, that the Dallas Fuel, they want to play the Junker Queen in those type of scenarios, which is an interesting idea that Junker Queen could potentially be used as like a counter for the Orisa compositions.
So I guess if you get good axe hits, the knife is good to sort of tug Orisa back into your formation. And again, Kalios disintegrates. It was a hack to set it up, and it's all too easy for the Dallas Fuel as they go 2-1 up in this series. And it makes you wonder, if not for the mistake in the second, where we'd be right now. But Dallas had to be pleased with that display. And frustration showing on the faces of Kalios and his compatriots.
I think it's time to put the battle cattle back in the stables or something. You know, I don't know if we need to see that again.
Put her
Is that
out
where
to
cattle
pasture.
go? In the
Yeah.
stables? Oh yeah. I mean, I wasn't thinking that grim, but yeah, I mean, that's.
It's not nothing grim about it. It's not the glue factory. It's where they go and enjoy themselves. It's a nice place to be. There's nothing grim about it. Still, the Justice, well, they need to make do with what they have right now, and they need to decide on a composition that fits them well. This one has struggled so far against the Fuel, but stick around because there's still more to play for. The Justice have a chance to even the series after this. Zarya, Genji, Sombra, Ana and Lucio seems to be the way for the Dallas Fuel after that Route 66 showing. And it definitely feels like they're playing to their strengths, Matthew, in many ways. Chio playing very aggressively, really positional awareness on that Lucio to make sure his boops are followed up on and they're high impact. Edison's had obviously a great series, to be honest. He's switching to play Genji in the first map, for God's sake.
Yeah.
And Harmin on the Zarya looking right at home.
Yeah, Dallas looks really strong thus far in the series. Still, we sit, though, at 2-1. Justice were able to squeak out a win on King's Row in a scenario that did not look good for them. So we'll see what they can do here on push. I'd love to see the Orisa comps go away. I think that Dallas has proven that they have an answer for that. You know, maybe not forever. I don't want to disappoint all the Orisa players out there, but at least for now, it seems like the Junker Queen is still a very strong pick against the Orisa. So maybe they match with the Zarya, and we see a mirror kind of composition here from the Justice.
These are two teams also that haven't really tried to, you know, use Winston at all. Something that's featured pretty heavily, actually, for some teams over in Korea, right? I think, you know, we could talk about hero pool. That's probably a big defining factor as well. Harmon and Kalios both seem to prefer to play like kind of brawl-style compositions. Get the Genji into the backline. The big point of difference between these two teams is we don't see Genji at all from the Justice, even though Assassin, we know, is very proficient there. He seems to be on the Sombra role alongside the Tracer. So Decay definitely gets to show his strengths, but Assassin, you know, he got out of the back seat in our previous tournament, Matt, and showed some fantastic Genji performances, right? Like, some of them were legitimately, like, really, really strong. Without that ability now and having to be a bit more of a facilitator, it's harder for Assassin to make his mark in some of these cases. Some solid EMPs, to be sure, but again, not really able to shut down Harbin to the same degree that Doha is shutting down Kalios.
And Route 66 was ugly, right? I mean, they had an opportunity to capture that first point. They had some ultimates even in that scenario to do so, and they're not able to convert as they let Dallas regroup. As New Queen Street will be the next map in the set. Can they get better value out of these EMPs and just better, I think, Sombra play overall, right? Being able to capitalize on those hacks consistently, as we see Doha is able to do.
Dallas had exactly the right idea about how to shut down the Justice's comp. It's clear that they want to play Orisa. They want to play aggressive. They want to do, dare I say it, they want to do the big damage, right? Kalios, I mean, it fits him very well, but let's not forget that Kalios like rose to quasi-stardom as a Zarya player, right? As a really proficient, as we called him at the time, off-tank player. So more than just this Orisa gameplay available to him. Now, look, on a map like New Queen Street, where obviously you can use the barricade and the robot to break some of that line of sight, it may be harder to burst Kalios down, but you know Dallas are going to want to engage en masse. What's interesting to me, is the Sojourn look here, a bit of a departure. Dallas might opt to actually play some longer range stuff, or just go back to what's worked for them.
Yeah, so looks like it'll be the Justice coming out with the Orisa, but this time, though, it's going to be a Batiste setup. So you want to use the Immortality Field here to try and keep the Orisa up even longer in that when they go into this potentially Junker Queen versus Orisa matchup, as we'll see the Dallas Fuel. They'll come out with the Zarya first, but possibly make a change.
Now, Chio there as well, just trying to keep track on whether Fortify is up. Now, Kalio's trying to use those bovine wiles to avoid being knocked over the precipice into the pit. Assassin's able to run Chio down, though. A lot of good pressure there. Oh, that's a nice one. Edison pinned to the ground as Kalios plants his flag in more ways than one.
Yes, a nice spear there from Kalios on Edison. Now he'll get the barrier moving. Do we see changes from the Dallas Fuel? Do we see them kind of just keep moving forward with this composition? As looks like they're trying to regroup. You still have Hanbin alive, so that's probably why we don't see a change. Maybe on the first death we'll see them make a swap, because they've now been wanting to play the Zarya against this comp.
Right, Edison there's able to get rid of Kulin. I want to point out, because the Batiste here, right? So Batiste Orisa, which was a comp that we kind of theory crafted at the start of this season, might get some use, right? Orisa can play around the Immortality Field, stay alive a lot longer, cycle through those cooldowns whilst being kept up. And Batiste has received some buffs, right? Especially in terms of his offensive capability. But it looks like the Zarya switch has done the job for the Fuel.
Well, they've just been on the Zarya the entire time. They've just not want to go towards the Jungle Queen because they don't think Hanbin's died yet. I don't think they've really had an opportunity to like get a full reset. So, but Doha already with an EMP, Mitch. Look at this. With an EMP assassin at 66%. I mean, that's a huge advantage here for the Dallas Fuel.
Here's that EMP. Krillin and Opener got hit by that, so no chance for an Immortality field. And Opener has to use a very sad one just to keep himself alive. Doha just re-hacks that. No regenerative burst if it was even available at that point, which is unlikely. Kind of an exo boot jump. The Dallas are cleaning up.
There too.
Was that a solo amp? No. Unclear. EMP came in, definitely messed them up. I feel like that came in after the EMP, so Opener making a switch here. Hanbin still hasn't had the chance to switch off this IE. If that's even what he wants to do now, Matt, that he's so close to grab.
You probably don't at this point because you're so close to grab, right? And then also, you get the grab, you can get the biotic grenade. Inside of it is, it's a Dragon Blade here for Edison, and it is not looking good.
Edison looks like he's just slowed down time around him. No one really looking at him. He's just, you know, taking his time getting across the battlefield, pressure with that blade. Okay, Transcendence, Terror Surge here. Shio shielded anyway. Hack came on a Kalios.
Yeah, I mean, you need to win this fight. I mean, this is a lot to use.
Well, it's not necessarily the use of those ultimates that gives you the fight win, but Krillin's able to remove Doha. They do come back in with an EMP here for Assassin. Dallas have so much to work with here, so much. Krillin wants to get a safe spot, nice little high ground position. He's been pretty impactful so far. We thought we'd see more Ana from him, as he was a very good offensive Ana when she was on the menu. That's the EMP, yields the kill on Edison. Still sound barrier, there was the fuel water commit after the fact. Graviton Surge, big catch. Yep, Hanbin comes up with the perfect prize. Everybody from the Justice getting snarled up in that, and the Dallas Fuel maintained this lead.
What's interesting, Mitch, with how fast we've seen Kalios like get burned down on the Orisa as now a switch comes in, that you opt to play Zen Brig with it, right? Like, there's not a lot of healing provided there for the Orisa. Like, I mean, you're kind of like one shot, and that's your opportunity there. So now with some switches here for the Justice, you think a good EMP here probably gives the checkpoint for the Dallas Fuel.
Yeah, and you asked for a Matt. Looks like we got it. Enough to burn Kalios down instantly.
Let's push back.
And there's no chance for the Justice to really contest this adequately. So we're into the butt scratch zone now. Rust removal ensues. Assassin hack there. Good chase down Edison there to finish the job. He and Doha really linking up nicely to get rid of the Sombra. Decay starting to watch this slip away.
And maybe that's kind of it, right? Where Assassin and Decay are just not linking up to finish off these kills. Like Assassin could be getting a ton of these like hacks and, you know, some damage down, but Decay's nowhere to be found in terms of trying to build it up. That was supposed to be up on Edison, and here comes Chio.
Chio, offensive weapon, key in the front line, dealer of deeps.
The new owl meta. It's like the late night like quick play meta.
That's basically
Orisa and nanoed Lucios. That's the play.
Oh dear. All right, nice turnaround though for Dallas there. Even if they don't get value out of that that nano fielder, and Chio just best buds. So Kalios actually
they got celebration out of it.
Yep. And I mean, Chio got that kill. All that's what I'm trying to say is he has a beat now because of that. You know what I'm saying? If he doesn't get nano, might have beat for this fight. You could clear Justice here. 2 more fights and you're good. Got to be a good EMP, but Decay, oh dear. Not a good side. Here's the blade. Dallas now trying to rub some salt into the wound. Edison trying to create a few more of his own. Lacerations. Kelly's forced to back away. He's hacked. Who's in deep trouble? Yeah, who's there? It's your boy Chio in his face. And the bot will make his march forward. Right now, it's looking unstoppable. The Washington Justice cannot get their ducks in a row, let alone all 5 players out of spawn at the same time. And it's looking like it might be a full complete as Doha will lie in wait here under concealment and let this EMP rip.
And even after this, if you were to make it out, you got a grab here from Hanbin, as this has been all Dallas Fuel here on New Queen Street. I think the Justice, they have some work to do with some of these compositions, because in some of these they looked close, like in some of these matchups, but what they came out with here on the start, it did not look like it. Dallas dominant here, closing it out in 4.
3-1, that could have been a 3-0 under slightly different circumstances. The Dallas Fuel will be happy enough with this victory. Again, the last time they played the Justice, it was close fought. This time, though, at times, yeah, sure. We saw the Justice able to make things happen. Matt, you kind of teased or alluded to maybe an issue for the Justice was linking Assassin and Decay up, getting them combined and pressuring down those same targets. But this is the same criticism we've had of this team for years. Those two players primarily.
I also feel like they put Kalios in some really tough spots today. You know, we joke about the Orisa play, right? And, you know, how fast he's able to, like, die in those scenarios. But when you know that he's getting focused and burnt down, and then you train combo that with a Zen and a Brig, like, what do you expect, right? Like you know, you're just taking away healing from him at that point. Like, and maybe you're trying to brawl out and, like, you know, play that type of game. But it was clearly proven that Dallas was able to do that, whether it was with the Zarya to lesser success, but more with the Junker Queen, they were able to do so, where I feel like you never really put him in a great position to excel today. I think at times, like, he looked pretty good on the Zarya, and they were making some big plays happen. But I think some of those comps, you either got to go back and retool them or forget about it.
For the Dallas Fuel, though, it looks like they've found the ideal comp on the first try, pretty much. So those scrims in the break period, despite them being very busy over the last couple of weeks coming out of Toronto, definitely has paid off. Seems like a meta that fits him even better than the Junker Queen one somehow. We'll see if that maintains or continues to be the case up against other top teams. Let's talk about a player of the match, though, here, Matthew. Someone who really stood out with a gigantic deadlift in their first map on Genji, of all picks. Edison showed it up at multiple times, right? Not the player we thought compiled in this hero. When we saw the roster graphic, we thought, okay, Edison might play Tracer here. But the Genji, look, squeaky clean stuff. And Doha, the perfect complement to him on the Sombra. It's great to see him back in the game as well.
Yeah, whether it was the Genji or even the Reaper, right? When we saw the Reaper at times, I thought Edison was fantastic today. You know, just seeing him being able to play the Genji at this high a level, it's just another thing that he brings to the table. You know, it's already like really deep kind of hero pool that he has. And I think what you saw, Mitch, is team saw the patch notes, right? I mean, there's some crazy numbers here. I mean, 14 final blows. You know, I mean,
what?
Per 10. That's
the game's
kind
slower
of nuts.
now.
Yeah, but I think what you saw teams realize is, you know, Reaper gets a little bit of a buff, Sombra gets a little bit of a buff. Some of the tanks that were, you know, strong, right? They kind of come down. With D.Va getting a buff, right? And people thinking D.Va's strong, like that kind of gets you back to playing some more Zarya potentially, right? As Zarya is a really good counter for D.Va. And you kind of come full circle into what they were playing, like, yeah, really early on, right? Like, you kind of come full circle, and you see, you know, obviously before Overwatch League, when people were playing, you know, Sombra and Reaper and Zarya and these heroes, I think you kind of see everybody kind of come full circle after some of those patch notes.
So we're continuing to check the condition of teams coming out of the break and into a new meta here. So far, Dallas, well, it's a perfect 10 from the judges. We've got a couple more teams put under the microscope, though, later today. For now, we're going to head back to the truck and get some of our experts' thoughts on how things went, and we'll return briefly for our last game of the day. Don't go too far.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Upper Deck, the official trading card of the Overwatch League. And by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
Welcome to Game Break, everybody. I'm here joined now by Doha from Dallas. Fuel Doha, congratulations on the win. And I feel like it's been a while that I've seen you. 자, 일단 오늘 승리를 축하드리면서 되게 오랜만에 뵙는 것 같습니다. 도하 선수. Hi, do you want to say hi to everyone that's watching? 자, 인사 한 말씀 일단 부탁해 주세요. 부탁드립니다. 네.
반갑습니다, 여러분들. 그 벤치에 있다 왔어요.
Alright, so 벤치에 있다 왔다. Okay, Doha says that he's been warming the bench. He was on the bench for some time, but now he's back, and we're so glad to see you, to have you back playing for Dallas Fuel. And I mean, talking about the bench, I think that's sort of my first question. You know, it's been some time since we've seen you last, but you know, even if like it's been a long time, but you still today came in, played the Sombra very, very well. So how are you able to do that even when you took a lot of time off? 자, 일단 첫 번째 질문은 오늘 경기 방금 이제 벤치에 있다 오셨다고 하셨는데 그게 제 첫 번째 질문입니다. 일단 한동안 저희가 도하 선수를 못 보다가 되게 오랜만에 봤음에도 불구하고 오늘 굉장히 좋은 경기력을 보여줬다고 저는 생각을 하는데요. 좀 어떻게 이렇게 쉬는 시간에도 이렇게 레벨을 계속 유지를 할 수 있었나요?
제가 근데 스크림 때는 잘했는데 대회 때 좀 못해가지고 긴장해서 못했는데 이제는 안 그러니까 그래서 온 것 같아요. 대회 때 긴장을 해서 잘 못했어요.
Alright, so Doha says that you know, in scrims I was really, really good, but in matches not so much. I wasn't that good. I was pretty bad. But you know, I think I'm back now because that's not the case. I'm good in scrims and I'm good on stage. So I think that is why I'm on the stage right now. And I agree with that. You've killed it today, along with Edison as well. 자, and all right, let's move on to the second question. You know, with the new stage, I feel like, and the new meta, we're seeing a lot more Sombra. As a Sombra player for the Dallas Fuel, do you think, how important is Sombra currently in the current meta? 자, 일단 두 번째 질문으로 넘어가도록 하겠습니다. 그러면 이제 도하 선수, 오늘 경기들로 봐서는 현재까지는 지금 현 메타가 아직 이렇게 정해진 건 아니지만 지금 이 현 스테이지에서 좀 솜브라가 굉장히 좀 중요한 역할을 한다고 좀 제가 봤을 땐 좀 생각을 하는데 도하 선수도 좀 그렇게 생각을 하시나요? 솜브라가 앞으로 현 스테이지에서 좀 굉장히 큰 역할을 할 거라고 생각을 좀 하시나요?
솜브라가 좋은 건 맞는데 잘 쓰는 사람만 잘 쓰지 않을까요? 그러니까 너프는 안 해주셨으면 합니다.
Okay, so I mean, it is definitely true that Sombra is good, but I believe the only players that are good at handling Sombra will be good. Please, Overwatch League or Overwatch, please do not nerf Sombra. That's what Doha said at the very end. All right, Doha, thank you so much for the interview, and again, big congratulations on the win. 자, 오늘 인터뷰 여기까지 하도록 하겠습니다. 오늘 너무 감사드리면서 승리 다시 한번 축하드리면서 보내드리도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다. 바이바이.
감사합니다. 대니 형 빠이.
Bye. Dallas versus Washington Justice. Dallas wins 3-1. Yeah, I think that was
full
big energy.
Flexing the triceps, you know?
Big energy.
Yeah.
I was fighting so hard not to mention that. I was like, I wanted to ask him, are you trying to flex? You know, trying to show off your muscles?
He was flexing indeed.
His arms look pretty big though. I bet he works out.
Yeah, probably.
Unlike someone.
Hey, don't look at me like that, okay? I took my break in the middle of these stages, Danny.
All right, let's talk about this match. I think we all sort of predicted that Dallas, of course, Hanbin was going to go with the Zarya, and he looked good. I was actually very surprised to see Edison on the Genji.
Yeah, that was a big surprise. I mean, overall, I was pretty impressed by this damage line from the Dallas Fuel. Yes, Edison was on the Genji. You have to wonder if they now want Edison as like a consistent factor within their team, right? Because I think that was the big takeaway from this match for me, is that Dallas Fuel, before the Summer Showdown, they struggled with their damage line. Do we want to play Gurio in a long-range hit scan role? Sparkle was fantastic during the Summer Showdown. At the same time, Edison has been one of your most consistent players. And now we're at the point where Edison is in the game and he's playing Genji, which is not something we typically do. Reaper, fair enough, you can make the case Edison is a great Reaper. But this damage line of Doha and Edison being in the game, and the fact that they looked so good, that was what impressed me the most here, Costa.
Yeah, and I think the Dallas Fuel, they are trendsetters. Whenever you can enter into a meta and it feels like you're able to flex your muscles, that's where Dallas really comes to fruition, and Edison has just impressed me time and time again this season. A lot of us were questioning the signing when it first happened because he hadn't really lived up to the expectations on the Atlanta Reign, but I feel like we're starting to see the true Edison really stand up, and the rest of the Dallas Fuel is just doing their job. On the other hand, though, the Washington Justice actually impressed me in this match. Dallas will be a hard team. Dallas did give the one map to the opposition team, as they always love to do. But I think Washington Justice were actually quite competitive throughout this series, playing a lot more of that, double flex support when they could with the Tracer Sombra. Assassin going back over to that, having some mixed success. But I think you could see better things. Maybe the Battle Cattle goes back into the stable, as Matt said. I respect them, boosting that Orisa win rate, but it didn't really have that many legs. As you said, as soon as they realized they could isolate the Orisa, you can just punish them or just run past the Orisa for that matter, it started to fall apart from them. So kind of cool niche pick, but I think Xayah is just a better one overall.
True, but I mean at the same time, it was really exciting to see Orisa first of all, and also Orisa is very sturdy.
Yeah.
Sturdy.
Sturdy horse.
Yeah.
Sturdy horse.
That's the perfect
Doesn't
word to
do
describe
anything
it.
else, but doesn't die. Takes a lot to kill it.
Yeah.
It swings a javelin.
Yeah.
It throws the javelin.
Throws a javelin too.
It's the new Winston Sap, Winston jump. Orisa throw, Orisa spin.
Winston spin.
Orisa slam.
I feel like that one is gonna come. Very, very.
Chat, help me out. YouTube chat, help us out, okay?
Help us out,
make
please.
The pasta, cook it.
Make that into a meme for us. Thank you so much. All right, let's move on to the next match. We have Atlanta Reign versus Toronto Defiant.
It's gonna be a good one. Important.
This is gonna. I can't talk.
Exactly.
I need to. Right, there you go. I feel like this one is gonna be a banger. It's gonna go all the way.
Yes.
Because I think what we highlighted in the pre-show, Atlanta Reign, of course, Hawk. He could literally play everything. He's a joke of all jokes. Toronto, they are coming off of a very good, I guess, not a win streak, but like very good results from the previous tournament. So I'm very excited for this.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great matchup. As we said in the pre-show, there's a lot of implications that go into these matches. Both of these teams are fighting for this playoff spot. Don't want to go through the play-ins. You never know what can happen there. And I think both these teams have a lot to prove in this meta. Atlanta Reign coming off of a very bad stage in the Summer Showdown, while the Toronto Defiant coming to prove that it wasn't just a fluke how good they are and that they finished third place. They're trying to prove that they have grown as a team and that they can play multiple metas.
Yeah, and this could be a different Atlanta Reign team we're seeing as well. I mean, they have so many people on the roster now, it's actually insane, Early on in the season, we saw Venom, for example, on the Tracer, right? Now we got Speedily in the mix as well, like a fantastic rookie player. You picked up Vigilante as your second flex support, so this could be an Atlanta Reign team that either they opt for like the OG Ultraviolet, Lucio,